And in the garage, there's a staircase beneath the van that has the toolbox. So that's where I go to run and loot after we like wiggle each other. And then this guy's shooting at me, and it scares me so much, Giga, that I jump and I alt tab my game, and I have to alt tab back in. As I'm alt tabbing back in, he shoots at me again. My screen comes up, and I see he's missed me both times, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" So
Right.
I kill him, but of course, because he didn't hit me, I lose Scav Karma.
Yeah.
And then his buddy comes around, and then he kills me as I'm like, because I'm literally stuck inside, and I was just like, I'm never killing. I'm always killing scavs. I don't care, dude. If you're a player scav, I was pretty tilted. But welcome to ScavTalk, an Escape from Tarkov podcast with a focus on the continuing development of game, patch note analysis, theory crafting, and general gameplay discussions. My name is Church. I do video editing for a content creator that plays Escape from Tarkov named Airwing Marine.
And I'm GigaBeef, a Tarkov YouTuber helping you guys get better at the game. And welcome back to the show. And I'm on the road again, by the way, if you guys on audio haven't been able to see me sat in a random office. So just to point that out to begin with. But, stick to the schedule. We've got to get it done. So here we are again.
Hashtag dedication.
Exactly.
I love it.
So,
dude.
Church, how are you in the first podcast we're doing post wipe? How is it going?
It's good, man. It's good. Lots of good. I'm very happy that they got rid of the Christmas gift. Once I saw they like leaked it out in the Twitter feed and the lore details that it's like a missing cargo shipment, and there was like some uncertainty if it was going to be all of it was going to be gone or part of it was going to be gone, but some proper investigation from some people in the community, they were like, "Yep, it looks like it's going to be all gone." And I am just so ecstatic about that, dude. That just like made this wipe for me. Like outside of the changes they've done to the game, like just that alone, I was really excited to get into the wipe for just that one reason. Because man, it's just like
it's
it's perfect.
it's so good. It's so
Yeah.
good. I agree. And I even just love how they got into it in the first place. You with the lore, with the
Oh
ship and
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So good. And we talked about this ages ago, right? Like ages ago, right from when we first started doing this, I was saying like, this is what they need to do. It's going to engage the community. Everyone's going to love
Yeah.
it. And we talked about Fortnite and we talked about Call of Duty.
Call
And
of Duty. Yep.
this is it. They're doing the things that we thought they should do in terms of mixing the lore with the gameplay and coming up with legitimate reasons as to why stuff has happened. Like it's easy. It's not that hard, right? You just say, oh look, there's a shipment that's been it's been contained, it's been carrying contraband, and it's been compounded or whatever by the UN or something, and it's got 450 rounds of BP in it, and a Santa beard. I love that. That was just so funny. The contraband Santa beard. But honestly, I love the way that they got into it. It's really good. I think because the confusion was about because you got 900 originally, right? And then I think they reduced it to 450 when no one noticed at some stage.
Right.
Yeah, and then it said 450 on the thing, so people were like, "Oh, is it half?" But like people hadn't picked up the Christmas gift for ages and didn't realize that they changed it because maybe they thought it was too much, and so it was actually completely gone. But yeah, that's like such a good thing. Like the BP last time was kind of early game ending in so many ways.
Yeah, it just killed the early game, man. Killed it. Whatever early game there was, it just absolutely killed it, man. So
exactly. So I think they've done a good job with that, and I think that the lore that they've used to build up into this wipe is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Just before we even start on the wipe itself, I think that you can applaud BSG for that because it's good. It's definitely a good thing, and it's kind of gone the right way with it. So, but yeah, the wipe itself. So took a couple of hours, took a little bit extra time,
yeah.
a bit of downloading problems, but all in all, you know what? Like it's not been, fingers crossed so far, it's actually been pretty good and been pretty smooth. I don't know about your experience, but for me it's been okay. I had some horrible bugs on the end of day one where every time I loaded in as PMC, it would boot me out immediately on entry, and then I literally couldn't re-log in, and I lost like 3 kits in a row because there was nothing that I could do. And I was like stood in one spot, I'd load in, and then I couldn't move anywhere. I was running, but just not going anywhere. And then that was it. But I could play Scav, and then the following day it was fixed. So I actually have no idea what the problem was. I think I saw something about potentially insuring gear causing crashes. that they then patched and fixed, and I think it was this, but I'm not sure. It's now
Could be the
gone, so
case.
yeah. So I think it's that. But anyway, other than that, it's actually been okay. It's been good for me.
Yeah. Now, when you went to launch the launcher, did you have to sign in manually? Do you remember?
No, because I left the launcher up.
Oh, is that the meta strat? You leave the
That's
launcher?
that's what I did. So I left the launcher
Oh
open,
man,
so I was already logged in, and then when the thing came, I just pressed search for updates, and
that
then
is so
and then bam,
smart.
down it came. So I was in the
Because
game like
oh
because I
my
couldn't actually play at the
god,
time,
that's
but
so
I was in the
smart.
game like 30 minutes before Pestle even.
Dude, that is genius.
It was
Because
great.
I launched the launcher and it's like sign in. I'm like, oh my god, I haven't had to sign in for like a whole half a year. I don't remember my password because I had to change it before. So then I try to change it because I was like down to like one attempt left, and then this happened before because if you mess up, you get locked out for an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no. So I'm going to change the password. I tried changing it. It didn't work. It failed. It kept crashing on the website to like a blank
Hmm.
URL. And then I was like, great. And then I remembered it. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is it. So I try it and it's like, please verify you're a human. It gives me CAPTCHA. And
Yeah.
GigaBeef on stream, I'm sitting here playing CAPTCHA Simulator. There's the cells are right there, and it's like select the crosswalks, and I'm selecting crosswalks, and then some of them in the middle, I can't select it. I have to click it 500
Oh my
times and then
God.
it selects. It was a nightmare. I was like having major FOMO, dude. I was watching I had like other streams in the background, just watching them play the game. I'm sitting here playing Capture Simulator.
So bad. So bad. You probably got chat as
Oh,
well, like backseating you as well. No, not that square, this square. No, you forgot to press this square at the bottom. Yeah.
it was rough, dude. It was rough. But you know
Yeah.
what? Performance, like queue times have been long, but performance has
Mm.
been okay. Like I did play a couple duo raids, and I've seen a couple streams where people are sort of like stuttering, like really bad and
Okay.
it seems to be really bad at the start of the raid.
Mm.
And I think that's pretty typical for Tarkov, but it's just that wipe stress load on the servers, I think really does a number.
Yeah.
But otherwise, besides the long queue times, which is like kind of comes with the territory, it's been pretty good.
When you say long queue
I'm
times, like
enjoying it.
what kind of time have you been having? I'm just interested because
Last
obviously we play
night
on
I
different
was in a
servers.
20-minute queue,
Oh wow.
and then I exited out, and I think I queued again for 8 minutes, and then I exit all the way out, and I added a couple more servers, and then I went to Scav Reserve at night, and there was like 4 people in lobby, right? And it took me 6 minutes, I got in.
Okay.
So, and then me and my buddy queued on Customs of the Woods, and we had like probably like 8 to 10-minute queues on average. But that was like late at night, like 1 a.m. today, my time. So I
Okay.
don't know.
Fine.
They were pretty stressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I do find the disparity actually. I feel like sometimes the EU servers are actually a bit better. Maybe it's because it's like slightly closer to home for them,
Mm,
and it's a bit easier for them to manage. I'm not sure, but like I think EU has been a bit better to be honest. Like, actually been playing like more duos and trios than I've ever played because it's as I said, there's a couple of guys I know have kind of got back into the game a little bit, so I've been kind of just like tinkering
yeah.
around with them in the odd raid, and our performance has actually been okay. I haven't seen any stuttering for them either, which has been decent. And all of
Okay.
our raids so far have been like 5 minutes or less in terms of queues, which is actually I thought really good. There was only one we tried to scav reserve as a pair, and I just couldn't get in. That was like eight minutes plus, and we just cancelled it and did something else. But like all the PMC raids we've been doing, we've been getting into actually okay. Um, I have quite a lot of servers selected actually because there's as you might imagine there's a lot of I don't know how many servers you see in your area, but obviously there's like all the European capitals all have servers under 50 ping for me, and so
Mm,
you can pick like Paris, London, like Frankfurt, whatever, like all of these places, and so I've got quite a few selected, which I think probably does help, but. I don't know. I have heard anecdotally, there's nothing written down on it really, but that the EU servers can, especially at the times of stress, can perform a bit better. And I don't know whether that's just because PSG like did them second or something. It's kind of like their next home market, you know what I mean? After kind of Moscow and a few others that are sort of in the Russia time zone. I'm not sure, but it seems okay. But yeah, I mean, like nothing's really like blown up. The servers haven't been on complete fire, it seems so far.
yeah, they
Um,
seem to be okay for me
hmm,
at least.
yeah, that's good. That's good. So what do we even want to start with? I actually don't even know what. Do we want to start with the biggest things or the smaller things? Maybe we talk about the smaller things later and just talk about the big stuff straight away, or we go for something in the middle to begin with.
what about the secure container? No, I'm kidding. No, I say let's just dive into it, man. I mean,
Okay,
the talk of the town is the flea market, right? That's the
it
talk of the
is.
town.
That's the big thing. I guess we should probably start with that. Um, I mean, I'll just put my take out there straight out, and we'll sort of take it from there. I think this is probably one of the best changes that has been made in a long time. And but then it also highlights other issues down the line with the game and the general progression. It's a move in the right direction, but other things need to change. Like you can't just stick it in and hope it fixes everything. So there still are problems, but I think it's great.
I I feel similarly, and I will say this selfishly, I like the change because I'm privileged enough to get to play, minute 1 of when the patch drops, or at least
Yeah,
attempt to play. And, I get to play I have more free time, I get more, it's just I have a lot of privilege in that aspect. So it's, I feel like it affects me less, and it's also like this weird thing where it's like I don't mind the extra grinds, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, but I definitely see how it's a big there's, like, definitely pros to it, and there's definitely cons. Like, I mean, the pro would be that, now things have more meaning. Like, if, for example, looting a pack of screws is, like, such a such a crazy rabbit hole because you could sell the screws to therapists for, like, nothing. You could get enough screws to barter for the hemostat or the pile of meds. I don't know. There's like it's like you just like different one item isn't just like how much is this worth on the flea market?
yeah.
It's like, what can this item do for me? Can it be used in my hideout to craft something that unlocks a station that gives me an ability to craft a bunch
Mhm.
of other things? Like that's kind of you can't really put a price tag on that. You know what I mean? That's just like an inherent value that you unlock, or you can barter for it to get something that you could use or put it into something. Like it just opens up. And we were talking about this a while ago about like hardcore and how like you were asking "Oh, are you allowed to use the hideout?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I think it works really well because you get an item and it has, like, these multi values, these multi uses to it." But whereas, like, with the flea market, it's just kinda like, once you get the flea market, you can just sell anything and everything and then buy the things you really want. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, it just, like, short circuits the whole progression system,
Mhm.
but I feel for the players that don't have as much time, and the players are gonna come late and wipe because, man, it's gonna be they basically increase the power gap now because now you gotta hit level 20 to get the flea market. So until then, once, like, let's say the average player base by 3 months is, like, level 20, and then some new guy comes along, he's level 1, dude, he's at a huge disadvantage, man, because all these flea market players are gonna have access to anything and everything, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's just like you said, there's some good and there's some bad, and it's like highlighting the bad and highlighting the good at the same time.
I yeah, honestly, my opinion is almost identical. Actually, it's funny because
Really?
I did like so I played Wednesday, played Thursday, and then like I recorded and like stuff through. I had another video planned for this weekend, but basically I just
Mhm.
recorded down like a 10-minute thing of just like my thoughts and maybe some changes about strategy and stuff, which is going to go out tomorrow. Um, and I did a bit
Cool.
about the flea market, and I said almost exactly that what you just said then, which is that
Really?
it's good for the game. It means the pre. Oh, so I pulled a stat from the wiki by the way because they've been compiling like the level changes. So it takes you. Actually,
Yes.
I'm just gonna get. Have you seen like how much longer it takes to get to level 20
I
versus
have
level
not
10 in
seen.
XP? Do you know how
Well
much? Do you know how
well
much longer it is, or how much XP it
well
is? Like the XP difference?
well, is this after they increased the XP requirements?
Yeah,
Because I've heard okay.
yeah.
No, I don't
This is
know
the
how
new
much.
compilation. It is 5 times
5
longer to
times?
level 20 than it is
Whoa.
to level 10. It is insane. It's like 75,000 XP now to get to level 10, and it's like 320k XP to get to 20 or something. And like For those people, it's
Whoa.
exactly as you said, right? Those people who start now, those people who are playing now, those people who are playing against most of the other people who are levels 5 to 15 right now, the pre-wipe experience is here. It's there for, at least a little bit. We get like a week or two of it rather than maybe a couple of days. And as the player base as well, you've got your player base, you've got the people who are all starting, and then after a couple of days you'll have a bunch of people still at level 1, and then it'll tail off like this, right? So
Right.
once this expands out and you get to level 20, you've got this like tail of people who are accessing the fleet, but they're quite a small number. And you have all the rest of the community who's still underneath. So the majority of your fights are still going to be, pre-flea market hardcore, because it is effectively hardcore right now, right? You've got level 1 traders, which are pretty useless. You got the
Yeah.
hideout, and you've got the and you've got no flea market. And so it basically is like go around, like loot as much as you can. Like with level 1 traders are actually okay, I think, because you can buy some basic
For the most
weapons.
part.
I
Yeah.
I think like for the most part, I actually don't think there's much of an issue with them, to be honest. Like after going in,
No.
because it's quite expensive to buy the guns from them because they aren't the
Yeah, they
cheapest,
are.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're used to buying from the fleet. And so there was an
Right.
analogy that I made in making my kind of thoughts this time, which I guess I'll just share here as well because I think it's good. So I picked up a P90 in one of the stashes, right? So I have a P90 and I have two mags. I actually found another mag that I brought back to my stash. I have 10 rounds of SS190, and I have literally zero ability to buy any more bullets. There are none beneath Peacekeeper level 2 is the first round that you can buy for the P90. I cannot use this gun whatsoever. And that's okay, because it's super, super early game. The ammo is supposed to be rare. I'm not supposed to be running around on day 2 with a P90 with SS190, right? That's crazy. But if the flea existed, there will be 20 other players out there who have found a
Right.
magazine for the P90 with 10 rounds in it. No one is going to be wanted, like, not everyone's going to want to run a P90. So they list their SS190s up on the flea. I buy them all from 20 other people, and I end up with 200 rounds of SS190. Now I can run the P90 on day 2. That's a problem, right? The fact that I'm looking at my stash going, I've got all these different ammo types. I'm like, what can I run here? And I'm like, oh, I've got this. And I'm like, oh, well, actually, look at the traders, look on the wiki for a minute. No, okay, I actually can't buy. I can't buy any bullets for this. Well, no wonder, because it's a European SMG, but I'm in post-apocalyptic Russia. This is this is not a sensible thing to be able to purchase. So I think that shows perfectly why this is good, because otherwise I would be running that gun. Right, a P90 early game is really strong. It's like decent rounds and 45 recoil or something. It's insane, and high ergo too.
But even then, Giga, you could even go a step further and say, why even run the P90? Why not just buy a M61, meta SA58
Exactly.
build? It's like once you unlock everything, assuming everything's like maybe not everything's like priced to its
Yeah.
performance, but it's just kind of like why even bother doing quests? Why even bother doing traders? I know the quest sucks. I know leveling sucks. But again, it's like that progression. It's something to do, and it makes you forces you to make hard decisions because beforehand it just was like there was no decision. You how much is this worth from the flea market?
Mm,
Is this item that's taking up the slot currently worth less? Yes. I mean, it was like yes and no. It's like so you didn't have to think about it. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I have some more thoughts, but maybe we save that for a different time.
Sure.
But
Yeah. I mean, like the only other thing I'd say is about your bartering thing and like the uses for items. Like doing mechanics gunsmith part one is actually so satisfying now because I was like, oh, you need to do the barter. You need to get the elite flyers. To get the elite flyers, I had one, but then I needed another one. I've got like one of each of the other types. Bartered them for an elite. Bartered them in for the actual like shotgun thing. I found the pistol
yeah,
grip on the scav because I couldn't buy it off Jaeger, even though he was unlocked, but it's out of stock because everyone's bought them. So like put that on and piece it together and then hand it in. I'm just like, man, this is great. It's super, super good.
yeah. There's some static feedback on right now. I'm gonna mute you real quick. Your phone. Hold on. Okay, I got it. I got it. I cut your phone off.
Is that better?
Yeah. Your phone. Yeah. I got it. I just muted you in Discord on your phone, so we're good now.
Oh, wait,
I
but
guess your
that's the one
phone.
I'm using.
Mm, whatever
It
the
must have.
GigaBeef 2 is,
Yeah, that's actually like that's my PC. There should be no audio from there.
that's weird.
Okay.
because the
Anyway.
audio. Yeah. Anyways,
Anyway. Um. Fine. Okay. So yeah. So that's basically that. It's like it's been cool. I
the
think like so. Oh, so you go. You go. You go. You go.
the last thing I was gonna say, and you're gonna hate me for this, is there is a bit more incentive to really maximize what you're putting in your container, because now it's like, okay, for example, this getting the Salewas, right?
Hmm.
If you get a Salewa in raid, it's not really worth putting in your container unless you want to use the Salewa, because it
Yeah.
has to be found in raid, right?
Correct.
And maybe there's an argument to put it in your container because it is a value. But if you put a something you need to build the med station so you can craft
Hmm.
Soleil was in there. If you put something that's barter related that, you could barter to do the same process. Like it's very interesting how it's like, do you go for the Salewa that requires survival, or do you go for the items that you put in your container that if you die, you can still complete the quest? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very
I,
interesting how that's working out now.
it is. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's affected my decision making on where I'm going, but it clearly affects like your sort of your player loot sort of Tetris, right? Because you'll go, okay, well, Salewa, that needs to be fine
Yeah.
in raid. I'll leave that in my bag, but this thing I need the syringe, so I'll put the syringe in the secure because
Right.
then I still have the syringe when I leave. So it affects my decision making in terms of where I put what for sure, because you're just trying to like maximize your the usefulness of the items that you have.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. You definitely
so
wanna get value out of, but see, here's the thing, is, like, now we're getting into a territory where the value of the secure container is less about the rubles you get and more about the intrinsic value of the ability to unlock that
mm,
craft or whatever, which
yeah,
is, like, you can't really put a price tag on that, so it's like, now, it's if you're really struggling, I could totally see a scenario where you go in with, like, maybe a Makarov and nothing else, and you just rush to the first thing you can and put it in your container, and then you could see what if it's like a bolt or a screw, that's, like, for your hideout upgrade,
yeah.
your workbench. Like, it's very interesting how the interaction store changed, 'cause I don't really think that was a thing in the old meta. Like, I'm sure it existed, but and you could still do it, but it was more about, I don't know, like, before the fleet I'll say this, before the flea market and the hideout, the secure container was all about safes because they had very valuable things you could sell to the
Yeah.
vendors. So now with the hideout interaction, it's kinda like, and now the flea market's been pushed back in this wipe, it's kinda opening up this new area, which is pretty interesting, and yeah. So I've used I got a bolt once I died, and I was like, "Well, it's not too bad, at least I got something," which is nice, you know? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it is interesting. Kind of the value is progression in the hideout, which is
yeah,
yeah, which is
kind
its
of an
own its own thing. It's like permanent too, so it feels nice.
e
It feels okay. I don't know.
yeah, there's oh, man, I watched another time, we'll have to talk about this, but I watched a thing on there's a YouTube channel called, Game Maker's Toolkit or Dev Game Maker's Toolkit
Hmm.
about, roguelikes, and yeah, well,
Okay,
I can't wait to talk about it in the future, but
excellent. Okay,
moving
well let's
on,
let's do that on another one. Right.
next topic, anything else for the scare container? I mean, the flea market?
No, no more for the secure container, Church. No more.
I can't help it. Okay, so, man, so we talked a little bit about the XP increase. I think that's gonna be a
Yeah.
huge thing. Like, that's a huge I didn't realize it was 5 times. That's huge.
Mhm.
That's huge.
Yeah, so it takes five. Yeah, it takes 5 times. I'm actually not sure how much the XP increases up per level, but yeah, it takes like 5 times as long to get to level 20 as it does to get to level 10. Which is yeah, it is a
Oh,
huge
okay.
number. That's a huge number, yeah, but it's not 5 times more than it was before to get to
See,
the same level.
that's what I'm curious about. How
Yeah,
much more was it than before? Because
yeah,
that's
I'm
what I've
actually
heard
not
is
sure.
they've increased some of the
And at the same time, they've increased some of the trader rep requirements, I believe. The levels are
yes,
also bumped up. So I think now the highest rep requirement for trader upgrades is 42 for
I think
Ragman,
you're
I think
right.
someone has
Yeah,
said.
42 or 43, yeah.
Mm, yeah, which is interesting. It's interesting that they're making, because there was actually one line in the patch notes which I was like, what does that even mean? Which is just made getting the Kappa container harder. Basically, it said something along those lines. It
Yeah.
was just like Kappa is now more difficult. End of story. It's just like, what does that mean? Is it like is it just everything's harder? Like there's more trader requirements. Like the quests are longer. I don't really know. And then people have said there's some extra quests too. I've not reached that point at which I would have seen any of them, to be honest. So I don't know if you've seen about, like I saw someone mentioning it, but I've not actually gone to look at what those extra quests might be.
I saw one just like on someone's stream, but I don't know. They definitely added more quests, but
Okay,
who
we'll have
knows,
to
man.
revisit that another time.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think like progression extending out, I genuinely don't think that's a bad thing at all, honestly. Um, I think it's okay for it to take a bit longer. I think it's fine, especially with the level 20
Yeah.
flea change.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yeah, it's considering you hit level 20, and you get the flea market. I mean, it's really the max traders just kind of gives you a stable. But you know what? Sorry, they can't. Let me finish my thought. It kind of gives you a stable, a reliable way to get the things you want. At a flat cost. You know what I mean? A never changing.
mm,
What's the word I'm looking for? Consistent
yeah, I mean, yeah,
price
consistent,
and
exactly.
quantity. Um,
Yeah.
but I also the rumor is that ammo has been nerfed. Like the scarcity of it has been lowered. So like the really good ammo is much harder to get in raid.
Hmm,
I don't know
interesting.
about crafts and stuff, but that's what is the rumor on the street. So we
Okay, yeah, I
shall
don't
see.
know at the moment. I've actually found some okay ammo, I have to say. I've got a little, I've got a, oh, I was quite pleased. I found a 60 stack of BP for 762, and I was like,
It's pretty good.
hero! Can like start top loading some stuff in to get my SKS super spicy, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I've had a couple of like Igolnik and BSs too for the 545. So I found some okay stuff. But yeah, like it's only those that I found in like any decent quantity. Everything else has been like 3 rounds of APSX and like 10 rounds of SS190 and that kind of thing. I found like 13 rounds of SP6 and stuff. So it's like it's good. I quite like having to sort of build up little stacks of like, you know, good ammo over time, and I kind of like that.
Can I just say I can totally see why I'm gonna jump back to the flea market by the way. I can totally see why the veterans want a no flea market world because I
Correct.
have this AK in my stash that has a Zukov stock that I found in raid. It has a silencer that I killed off a guy in woods that he got from looting the USEC camp, and
Yeah.
it's an AKM from my hideout that I bought the Vepr and some other parts to craft it. Like it's got so much more, such a story to it, man.
Yeah.
Like I worked for all of those parts, and today I'm gonna go out and die in 5 seconds when I spawn. But it's great, man. I totally see why people want a no flea market world. I can see it. So,
I agree. I agree. I actually have an M4 which is the same in my stash, which has got like a
oh, do you?
performance comp, and I've got
That's
a Bravo
awesome.
scope with a delta point on top,
Oh my god, that's
and
crazy.
so it's like actually kind of cool. But the problem is, right, the gun looks completely sick, and it's like so close to the base stats of a base M4. It's unreal. I was like, it looks so good, but it's just so bad. They have said actually that they've rebalanced some of the items. So obviously we can't see that yet because I don't even have
That's
access to the
true.
presets. I
Right.
don't think. Well, do I have access to presets? What level do you need to be
I
for
think
presets? I
I
don't even know.
think they wiped them all.
They have wiped them, but you. Oh yes, because you have to be able to. Yes, because you have to re-identify all the items. Of course, so you
Yeah.
won't be able to pull them into the presets like we did last wipe.
But I was going through and looking at a couple of stuff that I have discovered for like the
Mhm.
M4, and it did kind of seem like a lot of the compensators were like the same. I had like maybe 6 compensators in total, and granted 3 of them are like
Okay.
the default ones.
Yeah.
But like most of them were like either the same or actually one was like slightly worse, like one less
Mm.
ergonomic than the default M4 flash, muzzle flash hider thing. So
Interesting.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very interested to see once we get all the details as we
Yeah,
continue
because
to
I think
play
they
and
said like I think the line listed like countering metas with rebalancing attachments or something.
hmm.
I think it said in like the notes.
Yeah, yep,
So
you're right.
we'll have to see about that. I'm intrigued. But yeah, I mean I've got this 10-4. I'm just so scared to take it out now. It's like, dude, I don't know about you, right? This is maybe going to be a slight move away from flea and stuff, but like it is not. The game is not easy, dude. When you've got no gear, the game is not easy at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, I yeah, when you
I've
got
been
no
dying a
gear, yeah.
lot. I've been
Have
dying a
you?
lot.
My first day was okay. My second day, I played with duo, and unfortunately, it was not his lucky day, so I was the cleanup guy. So,
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, there's
yeah,
man, yeah, it's
yeah. I think it's
they
just
need
been.
it's tough.
I think I've been playing too aggressive. I think that's the issue. I've been kind of playing like sort of
Yeah,
the same as last wipe, but like overestimating. I think I kind of use the gear a little bit like in tandem with changing up my playstyle a little bit, and I need to just like chill a bit more and just relax a little bit, not be quite so pushy. Because I'm not really a Shift W player completely, but I'm also not a kind of sit and camp kind of guy. I'm sort of in the middle somewhere, and I feel like my middle ground is now slightly over the like before. It was like here's the
yeah,
line, and I'm here, and the line's moved
yeah.
there, and I'm playing the same, and I'm just getting killed. So it's interesting going into
Before you
this.
had nothing to lose, and you still got that old mentality in there, and now you got something to lose, and it's like, yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
for
it's that
sure.
thing of just like I'm kind of playing. I'm like, well, I'm not worried. You know, I've been through like a bunch of wipes now, so it's no big deal. Like, I know I can always make the money back, kind of thing. And then it's when you like try to insure your gear to go into the next raid, and it's just like better out of funds, and you're like, hmm,
Really,
all right.
man, I'd be interested to know what your survival rate is.
It's not well. I'll actually launch the game in the background. I'll tell you in a sec. But it's about I think it's
That's
about
great.
50%. I think maybe a bit lower, maybe 40,
Really,
50. I don't know. Yeah,
and
it's been really low.
and
It's
you're
been really,
and
really
you're
low.
broke. That's interesting.
Yeah. But it's
Interesting.
partly because so my stash is completely full. My stash is a
Hmm.
complete like rammed top to bottom EOD stash, entirely filled. The entire thing is
So
filled
you haven't
because
been doing a lot of selling then.
no, I've tried to sell as little as I can. I've
You're
got like
basically gonna hold out to the flea market.
yeah, I'm
Gotcha.
going to do the
Gotcha.
same thing, but it's a bit of a pain. So I've started like I've now cleared like a gap window. The sorting table is helping me a lot, by the way. So I've cleared this like little gap window, which is kind of where stuff happens, and then everything else is just like things, just all things, mostly barter stuff, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. Yeah, let's kind of look at the stats. And I've got it up here. So right now, yeah, okay. So I've done 22 raids. I've survived 12. So I'm at 54%. Because my
Yeah.
total
I
cost of
mean,
all items is like 7.7 mil, but I have 100 grand.
yeah. So you have this stuff. I thought you had no gear. Yeah. So
I
that
got
that kind of
plenty
makes
of
sense.
gear. I don't have that much. I actually don't have that much great gear. I have lots of like very mediocre gear, which is the
Sure.
thing.
Sure.
So I can
Sure.
run a lot of kits, um, but it's just all kind of junk, which is the issue.
My
But it's fine.
my plan, and I wonder if this is more because I'm on the standard account, but I did a video, I think it was yesterday, about sort of my thoughts on the meta change, like how these changes will affect the meta and maybe your decision making.
Mhm.
And one of the things I thought of was like, well, now since flea market is level 20, the therapist level 2, I think that's that level 8. You can get that with enough rep, or is that level
Is that's
13?
it's level 13, I think,
Okay.
now. I don't know
Okay.
what it was before, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that gets you the junk box, right? You can buy it. So that's gonna be sort of my plan is just to, like, get the junk box early. Because before, what it was is you would get level 10, sell
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
as you unlock therapists and you buy the junk box, but now it's, like, kinda the inverse. Now I have to, like, sell all the stuff for nothing.
Yeah, what do you mean? Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot you were playing standard actually. That makes a huge, huge difference. EOD has had an enormous buff with this level 20 thing. An absolutely enormous buff. Like it was obviously good before, but now it's like just clear miles. I mean, it's 5 times better than it was, right? It takes you 5 times as long. You can find 5 times many items. It's 5 times the opportunity cost of not being able to keep this stuff and having to sell it all to the traders. So it's just I think that is quite a big difference actually. Like the standard account players, it cannot be easy.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I think it's fine because as long as you just sell stuff frequently, like you're
Mhm.
not gonna use, like, you're not gonna use, like, anything
Yeah,
I can buy off the trader, I just sell, like, even if it's a mag with PTGZH in it, like a MP5 mag, even, I'll just be like, "Well, I can just buy this anytime, I'll just sell it,"
yeah.
until I, like, actually need to run it, so
I think
that's
that's
kinda
fair.
my advice for the standard account players, but, can we talk about Scav Karma?
Yes. Let's talk about Scav Karma next. That's a good idea. What do you
because
think?
I that scav reserve raid that I loaded into, I looted for the whole 13 minutes that was left in the raid. I'm going to my extract. I'm full of loot. Okay. Now, mind you, at the start of the raid, I killed the player scav. Okay. I spawned in, I was moving forward, and I hear him sprinting, and he prones on the body. Well, I'm like, well, shoot. Let me get that loot. You know what I mean? So I killed
Yeah.
him. And then as soon as I went to prone the body, I started getting shot at by scavs, rightfully so. So, anyways, I mind my own business. I loot. I come across these player scavs, right? There's two of them. We're near the extract. I walk up to them, and we sort of like just like ran to each other. So I immediately just start wiggling as we like stare at each other, and I'm just like, whatever. So I like run to the next spot I'm going to loot, and then as I'm looting, this guy shoots at me, right?
Mhm.
And I'm on reserve. You know the bunkhouse where it has like the jacket. It's there's like a red shack behind it. It's a spawn. You can spawn in.
Which side,
Um,
whereabouts on the map? Like, if you're looking at the map.
northeast-ish. It's kind of near CP fence, checkpoint fence.
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Um, it's kind of near. It's in between checkpoint fence and the gas station.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. By the hole in the barbed wire fencing.
Yeah, so I'm inside that little shack, and in the garage there's a staircase beneath the van that has the toolbox. So that's where I go to run and loot after we like wiggle each other. And then this guy's shooting at me, and it scares me so much, Giga, that I jump and I alt tab my game, and I have to alt tab back in. As I'm alt tabbing back in, he shoots at me again. My screen comes up, and I see he's missed me both times, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" So
Right.
I kill him, but of course, because he didn't hit me, I lose scav karma.
Yeah.
And then his buddy comes around, and then he kills me as I'm like, because I'm literally stuck inside, and I was just like, I'm never killing. I'm always killing scavs. I don't care, dude. If you're a player scav, I was pretty tilted. But when I first played my first raid, I forgot about Scav Karma. So I instinctively killed
Mm,
another player scav because I heard someone around the corner and I was just like ready to shoot. And I
yeah.
managed to kill him and I didn't get penalized. I got a bonus because he managed to hit me first in the leg. So the system's interesting. I know there's been some like feedback on it and some criticisms, and I think they've like just recently have been patching that. I want to say, um, I don't know. What are your thoughts about it?
So I'm still slightly confused as to the mechanic because I've seen some people say that if you get hit but you don't die, you still lose karma when you kill them. You only gain karma if they have shot and killed another scav.
I
So
think
I'm not
that's the
actually
case.
sure. I'm actually not sure
Yeah,
what's true. So it's
that.
really okay.
Yeah,
My basic thoughts are implementing it without VoIP is pointless, and
based.
the system itself for scoring who is hostile from a scav perspective is fundamentally flawed. I actually don't think Scav Karma is very good personally. I don't think the game's ready for it. I think they needed VoIP first beforehand. Because like so, take for example one of the first raids I played on Factory of Scav. I've got an
Hmm.
SV98. There's a dude inside on the staircase. He pops some shots off at me and a friend. We like run up to the side of the stairs. It's like, well, okay, this guy's clearly hostile, right? He is a hostile scav. He is shot at us. Is he a player scav? Is he a PMC? I'm not actually even sure. I can't talk to the dude because all I can do is go using F1, right?
Right,
How
right.
do I tell him like or get him to do a voice line so at least I can figure out if he's a PMC or a scav. Like if he's a scav, then maybe say, "Hey man, I'm friendly," like don't shoot me in the head. So what happens instead, right? I don't really have any choice other than come up through the stairwell, see him looking directly down at me, and just no scope him with the SV98 straight through the face and lose 0.02 of my rep with fence. So I'm like, okay, well that really really sucks. Another raid, right? I'm like, get shot at by a guy, kill one guy, lose some rep. There's another guy who's not even shooting at me. I'm just like, well, screw this system, and I don't even care anymore. Shoot him, gain plus 0.1 rep because he's shot like another scav. So I was like, how am I supposed to know? Right? This is not a useful system to figuring
Yeah,
out who's hostile and
yeah.
who's not. Because if I can't, if the only way of me knowing that someone is hostile is me witnessing them kill another player scav. I know it's
Exactly.
realistic, but the whole thing is completely stupid in the first place because how does Fence know? Right? It's like none of like it's just like it doesn't make any sense, man. Like
Yeah.
maybe you lose reputation if someone else sees you. Like if an AI scab sees you kill another scab, I don't know. There needs to be some better thing though, where it's like if you get shot at in your general vicinity, there's got to be some way of doing it in the sensible threshold, right? Like if you get shot at in the your general vicinity, I know like if you're with a friend and they're fighting someone else, then and there's someone really close and they kill someone who's really close to you, then it would still tag you as being unfriendly, maybe to you or something. There must be a better way of doing it than the way that it's
I
in place now. It must be.
I think it has potential, but I am a bit worried they're gonna get a little too detailed with all these rules and lines of code, if you will. And I almost feel like a more spiritual-esque approach would be a better thing. I mean, one of the things you said was like VoIP basically would like greatly help the system.
Yeah.
Um, I just I another thing that comes to mind is like you can't like if I think Clean said this in the video. If they had like a low ready position where you're like gun, you still have your gun out, but your
Mm,
gun is not aiming at them. It's like you're just like, having it against your belly, or I guess how it would look. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's you're not switching to your knife. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
way, because you don't know what this guy's gonna do, and then like you said, if you had VoIP, it would just be like you see someone and be like, "Hey, I'm friendly," and then this guy is like, "Oh, I'm friendly too," and then you could be like, "Oh, identify yourself," and then he hits F1, and it's like a USEC voice, and then he's a USEC, so now you can like infer, "I'm this faction. This is what this does if we interact and shoot each other."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like there's it adds another thing I thought of. Let's say I want to work with someone without VoIP. How do I communicate to him that I need this thing? You know what I mean? Like, if he has
Hmm.
something that I need, or, like, how do we communicate? It's like, it's so
You can't.
it's really rough, man. It's really rough. And I I hope they keep playing with it and tweaking it, because I think they have something pretty unique with, like, the RPG side of it all, like the
Yeah.
fence reputation and that stuff. But I almost just feel like you could just add VoIP and take out Scav Karma, and then the system would just you don't even need a rule set. You know what I mean? People are gonna work together, don't wanna work together, and then people that, don't wanna work together, don't wanna work together, but at least we can communicate that to each other effectively. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of agree. Like VoIP, VoIP would be like 4 and Scav Karma was like a 1. Without it, it's just like with both, I actually think it's better personally, but that's just my opinion. But like
Sure,
with just
sure.
with just Scav Karma, it's just a 1. I think it's like without VoIP, it just feels like a random system. It's like how can I, as a player, make sensible choices other than which is so my default right now at this stage after the first little bit of just like playing a bit and still being in the kind of like kill scouts mentality, which I tried not to most of the time. There was a couple of times when I really had to. Now I'm in the case of I'm just like, if I die on a scav run to another player scav, so be it. I'm just not going to kill anyone. I'm not going to kill any of them unless they're clearly, clearly, clearly like shooting at other people and they're actively hostile, that kind of thing. Because I just don't know whether it's more interesting to try to increase your scav reputation than it is to not. But even with that mentality, it's like how exactly are you supposed to go and do that? You know, I would quite like it if there was some way to actually figure out who is hostile. I don't know how you do it, to be honest, but like it would
Well,
be kind of cool. I just don't know how you'd make it work in a way that's not kind of gimmicky. I'm not sure.
and I think that's the hardest part, because you basically have to add so many criterias, and at the end of the day, once you have, like, all these rules, someone is gonna find the most min-max way to do it. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
for example, me and a buddy were scav doing on customs, okay? And of course, it was his unlucky day, but we hear shots going off on customs, and we look, and it's like player scavs killing AI scavs or other scavs.
Mm.
And so we kill them, and we get points, right? And so now we're like heading to the extract because he's got stuff he needs, and I'm off looting somewhere else on the map, and he starts getting attacked by more player scavs, and so he's fighting them off. I'm trying to help. I come over there. I think he kills a couple, and then I kill the last guy. I probably gained like 0.7 points just from killing player scavs who killed other player scavs. But when they kill other player scavs, they lose 0.01, I think. And I think it scales upwards. Like the more you do it,
Yeah.
it goes like 0.03, 0.07,
Okay.
0.11. But it is kind of cool because it's like if I see a player scav and he's walking around with like, I don't know, an Alton or I just saw him with a GPU. I am sort of like with a decision to make. Do I kill this guy for this thing that's really valuable, or do I value my Scav Karma? Like that part's kind of interesting to me,
Mhm.
right? I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it will always be so cut and dry, or maybe it will be more ambiguous. But
Yeah, I don't know.
and
I
then
think
the
like, well, sorry. All I was going to say is it just really depends on what the rewards are because we don't really know exactly what we can do yet. It doesn't seem to do a lot there, but we'll see. Um, go on, carry on. What were you going to say?
no, you're fine. I was just gonna say the other thing that kind of bothers me is that you can level up your Scav Karma on your PMC when you take the vehicle extract. I thought
I
that was
heard
very
this.
odd.
I also thought it was weird because that's clearly going to be the easiest way of making it go up.
Yes, and then I understand, Fence is like the lore master guy, or not the lore master guy, but he's like that's like his thing, the car extract. It's like related in the lore to him. I understand that, but I just don't think a PMC action should affect a scav karma system. I don't know. It
Mhm.
it doesn't it doesn't really. I've always saw those two like scav and PMC as separate entities, even though they
Yeah.
do. It is sort of a shared thing within your stash. Um, I don't know. That seems really weird because, like you said, the easiest thing things can do is just go woods of cash and take that extract every time, or go customs and take that extract every time. And you
Yeah.
get a lot of points with it too, by the way, like a lot of points.
Apparently, it seems flawed. I don't like that. I agree. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. So we'll see. Now they have made some changes. I didn't want to like list a few. The offense reputation now won't decrease if the player killed a scav who attacked first. So
Ah,
I
okay,
think
fine.
they fixed
Perfect.
that for you. Yeah. Um, there is some other stuff, but the other thing I saw was just now that was a bit of a question mark. So fix the bug with a small amount of available scav extracts. Okay,
Oh,
that was something that people were saying that Scav Karma, and I was not convinced because PMCs were not able to extract. I think it was PMCs on Shoreline. So
yeah.
I think there was some bugs with the extracts, but so the scav one seems to be fixed.
Well, that scav one was
And
quite funny, right? Because the scav one was like you could spawn into interchange or something, and then was
yeah,
it
and
interchange?
not
And then there's only the only extract that you got given
yeah.
was the shared PMC scav one, which is like super
Oh,
funny.
PMC, let me wiggle at you. Boom, dead.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, no. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Never. Yeah. Um Fence reputation now doesn't decrease. Oh yeah, so it doesn't decrease when killing raiders as a scav? That's a
Oh,
big question mark for me. Yeah.
doesn't decrease when killing raiders.
Yeah.
That is weird. Okay,
Right.
fine. I'm not sure what the implications of that are. That you can go and
So
farm raiders as a scav still, but
does raiders include Gluhar's guard?
I don't think it does because when you're doing that quest, I think you have to actually kill actual raiders. I don't think you can kill boss guards and complete it, if I remember
But
correctly.
can you do that quest as a scav?
No, but I'm just talking about the general determination in the game of what is a raider.
Oh,
Um,
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so, huh. That I don't like that change. I don't like that at all because that just incentivized reserve farming even more.
yeah.
So I don't know about that change. It's a big question. Um, okay, so man, there's so much to talk about. What do you think about the bushes?
The bush changes, I actually think is pretty huge. It's probably one of the bigger changes of this wipe that's kind of hidden and is one of the more subtle things that makes such a big difference. And um, basically, bushes are really OP, and this is a nice little nerf to them that also fits in with kind of realism too, which is good. I
Yes.
think it's good.
I like that you can when you're running through bushes, it slows you down. That makes
Hmm.
sense to me.
Yeah,
Um, the proning in bushes, I'm not too sure about from that
I
same
think it's
perspective.
okay because it's hard to crawl into a thick bush, you know?
Yeah, for sure,
It's
for
not,
sure,
it's not easy.
for sure.
I think it's okay. I think like maybe people was kind of too hidden, like to be on the outskirts of it, because you can still get quite close, but then it kind of blocks it. Maybe they need to change your gun a little bit because it blocks like the way that you turn at the moment, which is a bit rubbish. If they fix that, so you could get into like the outside of it and like brush up against it and use it as cover, that's okay, or like concealment, and that's kind of okay. But yeah, I mean, I just like embedding yourself in the center of bushes was kind of too powerful and a bit
In the
silly because you could do
center,
it with really,
yes.
yeah, you could do it with like no real penalty, right? So now there's some risk
Right.
reward to doing it. It's like you can push yourself quite close and like get in and like be lying down or whatever, and you're still not really going to be seen, I don't think. But you have to choose now between like, can you stand up easily? You might have your gun blocked a bit by the bush next to you. I think they could tweak it a little bit so it's a bit easier when you're prone, but I think
Yeah.
when you're crouched, it's kind of good now because you can be sat in the center. And it's like if you get caught, you're at the third speed, but you're harder to see. So it's it's
Bit
balancing
of a
things up.
trade-off.
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I like
No,
it.
that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. On that note, though, they did adjust the prone movement in bushes, so I haven't played. This is supposed to be patching today at 21:15 Moscow time. I don't know when that is. So
20.
maybe
That
you got a better
is
conversion.
that. Yeah, that's about 8 p.m. my time. So that was about 2 hours ago, I think.
Oh,
Oh no,
okay.
maybe earlier, maybe
Oh
six.
yeah,
Must have been about six
it's
or something.
11 minutes ago. It maintenance is complete, so we'll have to
Oh,
try
fine.
that out and see how that
I'll try that
works.
out. Because yeah, it
The
did
other thing
really
I
block
noticed,
you.
it does really. What was that?
It did really block you before. Like if you tried to lie down in the bush, then you couldn't hardly turn. It was horrible. So
Well, see, that's the other
um,
thing I noticed. I was on woods on top of a big rock, and I was prone, and I couldn't actually change my X axis. I could only
uh,
shift up and down on the Y
weird.
axis. Yeah, but
Hmm.
I was like on a rock that was slanted either slightly down or slightly up. I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I want to say some maybe one peg or maybe it was in the patch notes. They talked about that change where it's like prone is now more restrictive on certain slopes. Perhaps I'm not too sure. So we'll have to like
Okay.
see how that plays out.
Yeah, I don't really like that too much. I don't like the positional restrictions. I think they're annoying. You know, you could do it in real life, sort of. Like, there's ways that you could make it work.
Sort of. Yeah, yeah. It is kind of yeah.
To be
I
like, oh,
get
you got like a fixed line, and like above that, look, there's no go. It's kind of a pain. Like, oh, you'd have to make it more nuanced though, and then they're not going to do that for now. It's not an important change. So
yeah. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Was there any other stuff you want to talk about?
I guess the one other thing to talk about is weapon durability and jams. Have you
Yes.
had any?
No.
I have also not had any yet, and I'm probably using like 50% scav weapons, I would
Oh,
say, and they're
really?
like, yeah, and they're down at like 50% durability. I'm not really mag dumping people though, I have to say, because like the guns don't really allow that at this
Yeah.
stage in the wipe, in my opinion. But
In
I'm still to get a jam at all.
sorry, on that note, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I have good footage because I didn't stream or record yesterday, but I feel like there's some weird inaccuracy on guns in general. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't really put my finger on it, but I just like I full autoed with a PP19 and I'm adjusting my recoil to be on this target and I can see I'm like on target. Like, okay, I can vividly remember this one. I was on Woods MDR. We were probably like 15 meters away, and this guy's crouched looking at me, and I'm mag dumping him, and I don't understand how he's not dead. Like, I was just like, where are my bullets going? And then the other
Do
thing I noticed
yeah.
was when I was shooting my PP19 on a different woods raid, there was like a tree next to me that was like 5 feet, sorry, maybe like a foot or, zero point 0.3 meters to my right, right? And it's just like I have a PSO scope and I'm shooting at this guy, maybe like 25, 30 meters out. And I'm tapping and I see a bullet hit nothing, but it like hit a like a wood particle
Mhm.
um popped up. Like what's the term? when the bullet hits something, it impacts, it leaves like that bullet impact. I don't know what it is. Something feels really weird. And the other thing I heard, I know I'm talking a lot, is the weapon durability affects your accuracy, and that's got me really worried.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. I don't know if it actually makes a huge difference. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think that's going to need a bit more testing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And does it reflect straight in the MOA, or is it like a second stat that's layered?
I
That would be
don't
my
know,
question.
man.
That would be my question. So you have to go and like look at a stock AKM or something versus like a busted one, and then see if the MOA is different. Because it'd be
Yeah,
nice if it
that's a
was
good
reflected in
point.
the actual stat. But
Yeah,
what I
that's a
was
good
going to
point.
say about your impression of like where bullets are going and stuff, like
Mhm,
I think I've had a similar experience, and I have come from it from a different like explanation because I had quite a
mhm.
few. I was like I was swearing by the MP5 last wipe, right, and I started using it extensively this wipe as well, and I just cannot kill anybody with this gun, Church. It is not working for me whatsoever, and I feel that I don't know whether you've seen the same, but for me, it feels like there's a lot of level 4 armor around really, really early, which didn't seem to be the case last time. But you get a lot of it in your stash. I don't know if you get any as standard, but you get like 2 troopers, and there's like new rigs for scavs, which are level 4, and then there's the store thing, which is level 4, and seems to be level 4 everywhere. And my MP5 is having real trouble with PST ammo. It just does not go through that stuff whatsoever. Like
That
I'm mag dumped like 2 guys, both of them with the MP5. Neither of them died and like managed to run away. And I had like, and then they ended up killing me, and I had like 350 to body, but then 350 to armor as well. And I was like, really? And I feel that, I don't know, I just feel like there's maybe a bit too much armor early. And so a lot of the kills that I think I should be getting, because just like you're just like your general heuristics of like this guy should be dead, right? Because you're using
you're
like
right.
M4s with M855A1 or whatever. It's
Right,
just like the guy's
right.
not dead because you have a 30 rounder, you hit with like maybe like 12 of them or something, because it is a bit spray, right? These guns aren't laser beams. So you hit with like 12 of them, and then, of those 12, like 6 or 7 get absorbed, and then one of the 5 that are remaining, it goes like, arm, a bit in stomach, maybe you hit thorax once or something, and then you die. And then you're like, man, that sucks. And I think it might just be like early wipe symptom in some ways, just because armor's very effective, and I do really think there's too much level 4 around. That is one criticism that I would have of the early wipe. I think there's too much level 4. The level 4 at the moment should be something to be kind of like, aspiring towards, because there are only 5 levels of armor, right? Level 1 doesn't
Yeah,
exist for all intents and purposes, and so
right.
to skip 2 and 3 and go straight to 4, it's like, well, there's only 3 left. There's only 4, 5, and 6, right? And like 5 is a ways away. So level 4 now to be the routine round. It basically makes 762, because I said before that 762 PS I think would be good, and now I'm kind of coming to the conclusion it's basically the only round that you can use, and they should go for headshots because it's really, really, really decent.
Yeah, um, so I can confirm that the guy that I mag dumped was wearing class 4 armor, and I did indeed zero it out because my buddy had to come around. Like, after I mag dumped, I was just, like, shocked he wasn't dead, went behind the cover, and he was like, "Don't worry, Church, I got him," and he went and flanked them and shot him in the head. But it was it's like, I don't know that he has level 4 armor.
Mm,
I don't know if it's that my recoil on my gun is so high, and I don't know if it's that my durability. I don't know if it's, like, the server. You know what I mean? There's, like, so
yeah.
many unknown variables. Like, I wouldn't want this, but just imagine there was hit markers and it,
Yeah.
like, had a hit marker for armor. Then I would know, like, "Okay, I'm hitting this guy." But whatever happened with that PP19, dude, I'm serious, Giga. It was like I was right on him, I shot, and then I went to shoot again, and I could, like, see the bullet go down, and it hit nothing, and, like, a wood particle
See, that's
popped
weird.
up.
That
It
is
was
weird.
that was like, "What's going on?" Because I was, again, I was shooting 9 mil at guys that probably had level 2 or higher armor. But to your point about level 4 armor, I do think that scavs with level 4 armor is a bit extreme. Um, I would say that a good rule of thumb is that because there's so much level 4 armor in the game, I think level 4 armor probably should be like the average. Um, criteria, maybe like the mid-tier average, if you will. Like something to really strive for, to your point. So yeah, I there is a lot that yeah. So I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I
it's tough.
have I think I found one off a scav, and I have that really heavy green one.
The Ulay.
Otherwise I just got yeah. I mean, now that I think about most of the armor I get off is off scavs. I did get a gazelle out of a cache, and this is one thing
Nice.
that I do want to touch on is I almost think that caches should not have armors or high tier ammo. I'm sort of the mindset that having that on specific things would just be a better system, but that's a whole can of worms. We'll save that for another
That is
day.
a whole can
But
of worms. I mean, my very quick 2 cents on that is I actually don't
yeah,
mind small amounts of ammo being in the caches, but big
I
armor
think
pieces, I think are
so.
too binary. They're too big. It's too much. Like to be able to go around and collect lots of little bits of ammo is fine, but armor is either just like it's either a whole piece of level 5 or not. So
That's
I
true.
kind of
That's
half
true.
agree. I like the ammo though, in like a small quantities. I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Anything else, man? I mean, that there's I'm sure we missed a ton of things, but
Probably this stuff, but I think that's mostly everything. I mean, we didn't even really talk about factory expansion, but I mean, it's been fun. I like it. I enjoy it.
yeah,
Particular is really hard, and
I think
it's
they did a
cool.
good
Like
job
yeah,
keeping it
and
the same feel.
it feels the same. It's got a good feel to it, so it's okay. I was showing a friend who hasn't played for a while, and he was like, we were walking around in some of the extended tunnels, and he was like, man, I'm getting some real like golden eye feels down here.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I could totally feel that. That's awesome.
So I think they've done a good job with that. But yeah, other than factory expansion, which like honestly, like it hasn't changed a great deal for me. I think that's kind of it. I would say. Other than that, like I'm having a blast. It's a good time. It's fun to feel that like things are scarce and that you're having to min max stuff and it's like hard decisions about what you take and even what you take in. It's like, do I take the big bag? And at one point, I was running out of bags, so I was like, okay, do I take a bag for this raid or like do I just go and find one or kill a scab and go find one? I don't know. It's trying to
You
like
know
pick
the
the,
other
the weapon that's
thing?
gonna be good. It's good.
Say that last part again. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, just saying like just trying to min max everything and being like, which weapon's good? Do I want to go semi auto with something good or like full auto? Try and aim for headshots, but I've got loads of recoil. It's just like trying to like you can't just like pick all the good stuff and just go right, which is
Yes.
it's nice.
Yes. The tough decisions, those difficult choices. That's what makes it fun and
Yeah.
interesting. The other part I like is that I I have to be conscious of my food and energy,
Mm,
you know?
yes.
Whereas like before it was just like, right, every raid, eat, heal, click, it's just like you click, click, click. It's like it might as well not even exist because
Yeah.
it's just like an extra step to the process. Like it's
hmm
very cool now because now it's like I need food. I need to loot food. I'm running low on food in my
And you
stash, you
can't
know what I
really
mean?
buy it.
You can't really buy it. That's right. You can maybe craft it if you done all these other things to unlock the ability to craft it. It's on that note too. Pro tip: if you have your level 1 pooper station, you can drink your waters down to 1 out of 60 and use it in the craft to make the scav backpack. So
That's
some
a min max primo
yeah. There you
stuff.
go.
I love it. I love it. I still need a toothpaste. I cannot find one. I don't actually have it yet.
I haven't found any of the stuff for the pooper yet. So
Oh, terrible, terrible.
yeah,
Dude, it's good.
cool.
Even finding the stuff in the hideout is good. So
It feels so rewarding, man.
it does. It does. I'm
Feels
pleased.
so good.
I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy. Cool. All right.
Well, um, I guess just some quick housekeeping stuff. ScavTalk Discord is work in progress. It's coming along. It's coming along. I've worked on it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Um, Probably eventually we'll do some. Once the server's up, we'll do like some applications for some mods to kind of help out and facilitate it all. But looking forward to that. Be sure to check us out on Anchor, ScavTalk slash no, Anchor Anchor.fm slash ScavTalk. If you want to get featured on the show, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you guys and your experiences or any questions you want us to answer. That'd be awesome. And anything else, Giga?
Play more wipe. Let's go. Let's go,
Let's
boys. Get
go,
Spain to
baby.
raid. Catch
All
you
right,
later,
we'll see
everybody.
you.
Have a fantastic time.
We'll catch you guys next week.